This is the Benchwarmers Trivia Podcast. We have assembled the world's finest sports and trivia dorks to prove once and for all that we are just as bad at this as we were at sports.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Benchwarmers Trivia Podcast, sports trivia for those of us who rode the pine. I'm your host, Josh, and today's game will be pitting the Benchwarmer team of Mason and Scott versus Benchwarmer Marcus and returning player and head coach for our Patreon team, Chris Shen. Welcome back to the bench, Chris. With today's appearance, you become a member of the Five-Timer Club. Congratulations. Why don't you take a minute to remind us about yourself and answer the following questions, since, we know a bunch about you. What is your favorite live-action movie based on a cartoon?
Oof. So, as you mentioned, my name is Chris Shen. I'm from Worcester, Mass., proud home of the Worcester Red Sox. And the best live-action movie based on a cartoon, definitely not He-Man. That was probably one of the worst. It's going to be a lot of editing because I was unprepared for this question.
I like this question a lot.
Of course you do.
I would say the comic book ones, but I never read comic books.
Do comic books count?
I don't know.
If it was a cartoon.
Oh, you know what? You know what I will say actually is a recent one. They did the Chippendale Rescue Rangers, not the other Chippendales. They did do a Chippendale Rescue Rangers reboot, sort of. It's on. You can find it streaming now. That one was actually pretty good. I watched that with my kids, so that was good. Okay,
cool. And you guys can all answer this too when we get around to you, and I'll share mine before we get going as well. So Marcus, let us know how you're doing. Let us know your favorite live action movie based on a cartoon, and also tell me yours and Mr. Shen's team name was going to be tonight.
Okay. I had a great day. It's the hottest week of the year here in the state of Washington. It was about 94 today. So Josh North and I went to his dad's house, had a pool day, hung out. I'm just going to be honest. I've had a few adult beverages, so this is going to be a good time. And I've gotten a team with Chris before, so we're going to have a good time with that. Now, cartoon first, live action movie second. I'm going to go with a recent one because I'm going to count this. I could do comic book movies or superheroes, sort of, but I'm not going to do that. I'm going to say Sonic the Hedgehog. That was very enjoyable. It caught me by surprise. Like I did not have high expectations. I really enjoyed that movie, even though, yeah. So, and our team name. I'm pretty sure the last time we teamed up, we had some sort of related team name, but Chris and I today are going to be half Minority Report.
All right. And Mason and Scott, same for you guys. Let us know how you're doing. Favorite. Now, Mason, if you haven't seen any movies.
I was going to say, I don't know what any of those words mean. You're going to have to translate that.
I was going to say, he might be exempt from this.
I maybe, yes. If you have not seen any movie that is live action based on a cartoon.
Probably have at some point.
Oh, okay. Well,
I can't name one off the top of my head, but
that's right. If you don't have one, you don't have to answer. Yeah. That's okay.
Okay, that's fine.
So if you guys want to let us know how you're doing and team name and all that good stuff.
I'll go first, and Scott came up with the team name. Yeah, we came up with something at least. I'm doing okay. Tomorrow is my first day back at work, so we have a whole week of long professional development days where I don't even know what we're doing, but nothing that will help me for the school year mostly. So yeah, I just get to sit in meetings all day. But other than that, I'm doing fine. I actually went to my nephew's birthday party. They both have birthdays in July, so they had a joint party today. So I went to my sister's house and did that. So that was fun.
Scott?
Well, I'm going to lay some cold takes on you guys because I actually enjoyed the Aladdin movie from a couple years ago. That's not one I'm picking, but I actually liked it. It's a guilty pleasure movie of mine from the mid-2000s is Fat Albert. That movie's a lot of fun. And then I love the original Scooby-Doo, not Monsters Unleashed, because that one was not great. But the first one, I think, is very, very enjoyable. But I have to go with Transformers because I remember going to see the first one that came out like right after I graduated high school in theaters, and I was thoroughly surprised by how much I liked it and how good it was. So I'll go with Transformers as my number one pick there. And I just gave those because I don't really have anything else going on, so I don't have much else to say. I'm thinking maybe we should change our team name on the fly to Other Half Minority Report, but I think we'll just stick with what we came up with because that might get too confusing for Josh. So Mason and I, once upon a time back in the day, there was this thing called the Dean's List. I know you guys all remember it. You all love it. We get your fan mail. We know. But during one of those Dean's Lists, we had a question about tight end. I believe it was receiving yards for tight ends. And Mason and I just pretty much named every starting tight end in the NFL from that previous season. So our team name based on that is going to be We Name Tight Ends.
All right. So we got Half Minority Report versus We Name Tight Ends. And Scott, if I had to pick a winner, you would be the winner because your number one is my number one. I have Optimus Prime Lego up on my bookshelf behind me.
It's really weird that Megan Fox looked immaculate when everybody else was dirty and bloody during that final battle in that movie. So weird, strange.
And so for me, it was my childhood coming to live action childhood. I love the Transformers cartoon. And granted, I've tried to watch it going back. It wasn't a great cartoon. I'll just say that.
The cartoon movie is not good.
Oh, the cartoon movie is really bad, except that they have Weird Al for the Junk Planet. They have Dare to Be Stupid is the song. So that's at least something nice. And progressively, the movies have gotten worse and worse every time a new one comes out. But the first one, it's not great cinema, but like I said, childhood come to life, and that was pretty awesome. Okay, well, now let's get to what we all came here for, which is sports trivia. So let's kick it over to Dan for the rules.
We'll be starting off with the coin flip question to warm up the teams. This will be followed by 4 quarters of play, each with a different trivia style. The styles of quarters 1 through 3 will change from show to show, and I will explain them as we go along. Like any good sporting event, we will have a halftime show after the second quarter with entertainment questions pertaining to sports. And in the fourth quarter, our teams will wager from their points accumulated to see who are today's clipboard captains, to be honored like the true benchwarmers they are. All right, let's get this game underway.
Thank you, Dan. And now it is time for our coin flip, a 50-50 warm-up question worth 10 points. And since, Chris, you are our guest, you and Marcus will get to answer the coin flip question, which is, who has won more championships, Boston's Big Four teams or Ohio State University? For clarification, I am only taking NCAA Division I sanctioned team championships into account for OSU.
So all sports for Ohio State?
All NCAA Division I sanctioned team championships.
So not their Quidditch team.
Wow. I hate this.
Well, there's obviously a lot in Boston.
A lot. Celtics, the Bruins, they've won a couple, haven't they?
Yeah.
And then the Red Sox have won
6, I think.
Yeah.
I think you're looking around 35, somewhere around there, maybe 37, somewhere in that range. It still seems low, though. Ohio State's they've been around a long time. They've obviously they've won football and basketball. They might have a hockey one. I know they've been there. But I mean, there's so many different sports.
There's just a long span of time, and we know from these coin flips that they're going to be. It's close. Yeah, I would lean Boston just off of my initial scan of the question. I would say Boston, but I don't know what you're thinking.
Yeah, see, I mean, I would actually go the other direction because, let's say hypothetically their women's diving team is dominant and they've won like 15 times. I have no idea, like the Division I sports, and they're a big enough university that they're competing in a lot of sports.
Oh, wait. We also have New England Patriots too.
Yeah, the Patriots. Yeah.
Right. Okay. Yeah, I'm good with that. I'm good with Ohio State. If you feel better about that.
I mean, I mean, there's no way for me to know how many Ohio State.
No, we have no idea. I have no idea. When I think of Ohio State basketball, I just think about Greg Oden and Mike Conley. That's all. I don't think about anybody else. What, did Michael Redd go to Ohio State?
Yeah.
He did. Okay. Yeah. There's another one. Aaron Kraft. the basketball tournament stalwart. The TBT stalwart, Aaron Kraft. Anyways. All right. Let's go with what you said.
Yeah, I say we go with Ohio State.
Sounds good to me.
All right. Well, let's start with Boston. Their big four have won 38 championships. Celtics have 17, Red Sox 9, Patriots and Bruins both have 6 apiece. Ohio State has won 31 NCAA Division I sanctioned team championships. Most on that list is men's swimming with 11. Then they have a bunch of sports with 3, 2, and 1. Unfortunately, Division I FBS football is the only NCAA sport which the NCAA does not sanction a yearly championship event. So their 8 claimed college football championships do not count as part of this question. If they did, they would have been at 39.
Interesting.
That makes sense.
You know, for the longest, I mean, even now with the tournament, the 14 tournament, it still isn't an NCAA sanctioned. It's because at the end they still have all of the AP and all those
national champion,
all the different ones.
Yeah,
but they just all vote for whoever wins it. So why it's not sanctioned,
that makes sense.
I don't know. But
all right,
and only one of those 8 that they claim were they unanimously the championship, and that was the 2014.
Well, what about 2000? Was it 2001 when they beat Miami?
2002.
I looked at all of these ones. There was at least 1 or 2 of those other, like there's 8 different entities that vote on who they believe is this national championship. So they only have 1 where they were unanimous from all of the entities. So heading into the first quarter, Half Minority Report did not get the question right. So they have 0, and We Name Tight Ends for doing nothing but sitting on their hands has 10 points.
I hope that's all they're doing with their hands.
Bro, when you're here, never.
Before we get to the first quarter, we wanted to let you know that we are on Patreon if you'd be interested in supporting us financially. Your contributions will be used to help us cover the costs that it takes to bring you the high-quality sports trivia you have come to expect from us. There's also some great perks that come with the Patreon membership to the Benchwarmers Trivia Podcast, including bonus episodes and Benchwarmers swag. You can find us at patreon.com/benchwarmerstp. Thanks.
Today's first quarter will be sporting haikus.
Sporting haikus. For this quarter, there will be 4 questions in haiku form. Each question is worth 25 points.
All right, question 1 in sporting haikus. Clinched WC playoff berth. Commissioner's Cup winner. Home means the Meadows. And obviously I'm restrained with syllables for haiku, but if you're not sure what WC is, I could let you know that is Western Conference.
You want to go with it?
Yep.
We'll check in.
Okay. We Name Tight Ends has checked in, so Half Minority Report, you guys can talk it out.
All right. Commissioner's Cup says clinched Western Conference playoff berth. I think we were both thinking hockey initially, but if they're saying they just clinched a Western Conference playoff berth, that makes me think that it might be MLS. It's not Lumen Field. That doesn't mean the Meadows. So it's not the Sounders if we were going there.
Yeah, MLS, I have even less
knowledge
knowledge in their stadium names. if it means the meadows, does that mean it's a synonym, or could it be in another language? Like, well, the only one that speaks like French, they would be in French, would be Montreal, but that's, Eastern Conference for hockey.
The other thing that I had a thought of is, for some reason, I feel like the WNBA also has like a weird thing like the Commissioner's Cup, or I just feel like I heard about it related to like when it was something about, you remember when Kelsey Plum got the All-Star MVP and they gave her a trophy that they bought at like a store down the street from the arena right before the game started. Like, I remember seeing it, and then I saw her team celebrating with the commissioner. I thought that somebody played a joke on her about it. Like, they brought out some like little rinky-dink trophy and we're like, ha ha ha. So I'm kind of thinking it could be her team, the Las Vegas Aces, but I don't know what that arena's called. I assume they play. Would it be the same place where the Knights play? Do you know where they play?
No, but
isn't it just T-Mobile Arena? That might not be it. I don't know.
They play in Vegas, so it might be one of the casinos where they play. I know that. I mean, it's Eastern Conference, but the Mohegan Sun is where obviously the Connecticut Sun play.
Yeah,
but I don't know where any of the like WNBA teams play.
Yeah, like I said, obviously I follow every move Kelsey Plum makes, and I know there was a video a few days ago about them when they won something that they were making fun of her getting that rinky-dink trophy at the All-Star game. I think it might be the Las Vegas Aces. That's what I'm feeling. The Commissioner's Cup makes me.
Okay.
I don't know. That's all I got. That's where I'm leaning.
All right.
You want to go with
fine.
it?
Yeah. Las Vegas Aces.
Right. Yeah. That's what we'll check in with.
Okay. And we named tight ends. What did you guys have for an answer?
So I vaguely remember seeing an article about it. I didn't read it, but the Commissioner's Cup, if I remember correctly, is their in-season tournament in the WNBA. I think it's been going on for a couple of years. And so I remembered it happening. I couldn't remember who won it. The first thing that came to mind was the Aces. And then I think I figured out the last part. Scott and I talked it out. I think Las Vegas translated into English might be the Meadows from Spanish. So we're thinking that might be what that means, because we had no idea what that meant otherwise. So we went with the Las Vegas Aces as well.
Both teams will be getting points. The correct answer is the Las Vegas Aces. The Aces beat the Chicago Sky 93-83 on July 26th to win the second ever WNBA Commissioner's Cup. And Mason, you are correct that in Spanish, or translating Spanish to English, Las Vegas means the Meadows.
I'd kind of hoped that we had talked it out because I wanted to bring up Kelsey Plum before Marcus. But when you said Aces, Mason, my head immediately went to, like, I follow her on Instagram, see, like, one of the few WNBA players I follow on Instagram, and I remember seeing them, like a bunch of posts with her and her team celebrating something. So when you said that, it was like, yeah, that's likely it, because otherwise, what else were they celebrating?
I love you, Kelsey.
All right, let's move on to question 2 in Sporting Haikus. MLB All-Star, game-winning home run in 4th, not the MVP.
You good with that?
Yeah, that's fine.
All right, we're checked in.
Okay, we named tight ends is checked in. Half Minority Report. You guys can talk it out.
You watched the All-Star game, Chris?
Unfortunately, I didn't. I was actually, and I am not somebody who normally goes to plays, but I was at a Neil Diamond play the night of the All-Star game this year. So
wait, Neil Diamond. I thought Neil Simon did plays. I'm so confused. Anyways, keep going. Sorry.
Wow.
So it's basically the opposite of watching the All-Star game.
Okay, yeah, that's about as. So I know that the American League won, and there were 2 home runs hit back to back in the 4th inning. I'm fairly positive that Giancarlo Stanton hit one, but I don't know who hit the other one off the top of my head. So I'm trying to think of guys who are all-stars that would have been hitting in the middle of the lineup with Stanton. I was very much paying attention to all-star starters because I thought Julio Rodriguez should have been one. So I know Trout was a starter, but he might have been somebody who dropped out due to injury. I think it was Stanton and Judge, but I don't think Judge was the other one.
Devers
is definitely a middle of the lineup guy.
He started. I think he started.
I think he started at third. I don't think it was him. Oh gosh, this is gonna make me nuts. It's there. It's there somewhere.
Now, what is not the MVP like? Because
I think one of them that hit the home runs, and I think it was Stanton. I think one of it has to be that one of them won the MVP.
Okay.
So I'm just trying to remember who's the other guy who hit the home run. Start naming, if you can, like some of the guys that you think made the All-Star team.
Judge.
Okay.
We can name some tight ends for you guys.
I was gonna say you should change your name to We Name AL All-Stars.
I think Altuve was on the team starting. I think it was
Soto,
Vlad Guerrero.
Oh no, he would have been National League.
Yeah, Vlad Guerrero. Oh,
Bichette didn't start, did he?
No. Tim Anderson, maybe.
Oh, from the White Sox?
Yeah. Yes, I think he was the other guy. I think it's Tim Anderson. Yeah, Anderson feels right to me. I think it was him. I think he was the other guy.
All right, that works for me.
Okay, we're going to check in with Tim Anderson.
Okay, and we named tight ends. What did you guys have for an answer?
So Stanton I think he hit a 2-run shot, and then to tie it, and then the game winner was hit by, and he crushed it. It's MLB's Punxsutawney Phil, Byron Buxton. So that's what we checked in with.
One team will be getting points. The correct answer is Byron Buxton. Yeah, so Stanton hit that 2-run homer that tied the game, and then Buxton came up next and hit the game winner, and Stanton was given the MVP. Buxton, at the time that I wrote this, a couple days back, he had 51 home runs since his last grounded into a double play, which is the most since double plays were officially tracked in both leagues in 1940. I know that Buxton has hit at least one or two since I wrote the question, and I doubt he's hit into a double play.
Hard to double him up, yeah.
So I thought that was an interesting stat that I saw when I was scrolling through Facebook one day. All right, let's move on to question 3. 4-time F1 champ, drives for Aston Martin now, announced retirement.
My Netflix queue has the F1 show on it. I made it 2 episodes.
But you haven't watched it? Oh no. I have nothing. I have 2 names that are my go-to for F1. Yeah.
I have the same 2 names.
Yeah. I don't think that's right. Oh God, I have no idea. I'm not going to get it. There's no way of reasoning it out. There's no way of talking it out. Because I don't have other names. I don't have anything to base this off of.
If you didn't see it, come through on ESPN.com or anything, you might,
Thing is, I vaguely remember seeing something about this. I just trying to think if I could pull a name here. So I vaguely saw like somebody, it just randomly popped up.
Yeah.
On my feed, but I didn't click on it because I had nothing invested in it.
Same. No, I'm sure something been on Bleacher Report as I've been scrolling for like MLB trade deadline stuff, and I probably just scrolled right past it.
We're going to check in.
All right, Half Minority Report is checked in. We name tight ends. You guys can talk it out.
Well, I think our best bet might be to take a last name of a tight end that sounds like an F1 driver.
There you go. That's a good idea.
Because I got nothing.
Yes,
that's the go-to. Obviously, is Martellus Bennett racing? Is he racing F1 cars now? Like, oh man, I don't know. Mark Andrews. That's it's a good one is Rudolph.
Oh,
right?
Yeah.
He's playing with TB12 now. Maybe he's, maybe.
Well, too bad Cade Otton's going to be the leading receiver in that tight end group. Washington Husky legend Cade Otton.
When it's F1, it's usually that Michael Shoemaker character, and I know this is not him, so
Maybe if I press the F1 key on my keyboard, something will come up.
That would be amazing.
Guys, Mason just dropped off the call. I don't know what's going on.
And nothing happened. Oh, well, I guess that's my answer then. I have nothing.
Yep, I don't either. Rudolph.
Sure.
Right.
It could work. It could work. You never know.
All right, we're going to check in with Rudolph.
Okay. And Half Minority Report, what did you guys have for an answer?
Well, after much intense deliberation, Chris and I decided to name a few of the F1 drivers that we know, and we knew those weren't the correct answers. But then Chris so eloquently led me to an F1 driver that I wasn't thinking of initially when we thought of this question. His name is Jean Girard, and he formerly drove in Formula 1. So we're checking in with Jean Girard.
Oh. Well, that answer at least made me unfortunately, no points will be awarded for this question. The correct answer is Sebastian Vettel. Vettel won his 4 consecutive championships driving for Red Bull from 2010 to 2013. Let's move on to the last question in Sporting Haikus. Question 4. Eugene, Oregon, 400-meter hurdles world record holder.
All right, Josh, we are checked in.
All right, We Name Tight Ends is checked in. Half Minority Report. You guys can talk it out.
Okay, Chris, were you thinking Tyson Gay?
No, I don't know. Did he just break a world record?
No. So what I think this is, I think it's a woman that just broke it at the World Championships. I'm trying to channel David Lux right now. Hold on.
So this is extremely frustrating to me because, so I was just saying to Marcus, my sister is a big runner and she follows like track and field. And
are you trying to phone a friend, Chris? Is that what you're saying?
I wish if I could look at my text messages, I could get the answer in about 2 seconds. Because my son was with her at a track and field event about 3 or 4 years ago, and she's like, "Oh, these two runners are going to be huge stars." So she got my son's picture with both of these athletes. One's a male and one's a female. And I think both of them either broke records or won their respected events this year. And I can't remember their names.
So here's what I have right now. I think her name is Sydney. I just don't remember her last name. Sydney. Oh my God, this is going to make me insane. I know David, speaking of David, he's probably squirming in his chair whenever he listens to this, whether it's when he's QAing the episode or whether or not I'm going to get a message at some point of David being like, "Oh, I'm freaking out right now." Because it was in Eugene. This is a couple weeks ago. Devin Allen got disqualified for jumping early. I was hoping this was a 110 hurdles question because I was ready to put Devin Allen. Oh my God. Is that ringing a bell for you at all, Sydney something? Chris?
Nope. I don't think that, because it's like, 4 years ago, my sister told me their names. And then like a couple of weeks ago, she resent me the pictures and said their names again. But like, that was the only time that I saw them.
Oh God, it's Sydney McGuire. Sydney McGuire, maybe. McGuire. Sydney McGuire is what we'll check in with.
Okay, and We Name Tight Ends. What did you guys have for an answer?
We had absolutely nothing for a while here, talking about Marcus and David in Oregon. And then I know that again, this is someone that I follow on Instagram. I follow her on Instagram. That's how I even know who she is. And I did remember seeing something within the past few weeks that she broke a record, didn't know what record it was really hoping it was 400-meter hurdles. Sounds like it is. We checked in with Sydney McLaughlin.
Oh my.
One team will give you points. Correct answer is Sydney. I'm not sure if it's McLaughlin or McLaughlin, but yeah. Oh, Marcus, you were so close.
When he said McGuire, I was like, he's going to get it. I was like, he's just going to go through mix and like go McIntosh and McGinty and then eventually get there. Like, yeah.
So Sydney, also won. She won a second gold medal in the 4x400 relay as the anchor at the 2022 World Championships. So, all right. Well, after the first quarter, we have the following scores. Half Minority Report did get on the board. They do have points. They have 25 points. And We Named Tight Ends is up to 85 points. And that brings us to today's second quarter, which will be pre and post game.
Pre and post game. For this quarter, there will be 4 before and after style questions. For example, if I said, what all-time leader in receptions for the Indianapolis Colts was a Notre Dame safety drafted by the Minnesota Vikings, the answer would be Marvin Harrison Smith. Each question is worth 25 points.
It's been a little while since I've written a pre and post game, so thought I'd give it a go again.
We listen to the fan mail. We read it.
Okay. When you're talking about the Dean's List, I don't want to hear about Sam Carr emailing you over and over and over again.
Oh, no, that's all Eid. I don't. Sam and I talk about real things that are important.
All right. Well,
Sam and I do not talk about things that are important. You guys,
but
would
I'm
be
guessing you
shocked
don't
by
talk
that.
about the Dean's List.
No, we talk about Cardi B.
For the record, I like the Dean's List a lot. I know it can be a pain to edit it, but
all right.
I also think there should be a bonus for like completing the list. But
don't try to add things to. See, now you're just going to make us more stick it on a shelf. That's it. Trying to make it more complicated. All right. Question 1 in pre and post game, because that's the quarter style we're doing right now. What Hall of Famer who made his Major League Baseball debut in 1948 and became the first black pitcher to take the mound in World Series history that same season was named both AP Player of the Year and Naismith College Player of the Year in 2021?
I think that's our best bet because it works on both. Yeah,
it fits.
So
okay.
I don't see us coming up with something that makes more sense.
Yeah, if you feel good about the other half, then yeah.
I do. All right,
okay.
We're checked in.
Okay, We Named Tight Ends is checked in. Half Minority Report. You guys can talk it out.
Okay. Yes. Thank you. All right. Well, I think we got there as soon as they checked in. So go ahead, Chris. Tell me what you initially sent over and what we were thinking right off the bat.
Yeah, originally we were thinking Bob Gibson, but I don't know. That did seem a little late, and then we couldn't think of who was the player of the year.
I was fairly certain that in 2021, Luka Garza had won the Naismith Player of the Year, and then Chris said Satchel Paige. And that got me onto, maybe this isn't a man. And then Chris was like, Paige, her name's Paige. And I went, oh my God, that girl from UConn. And I think her last name is Bucher or Becker. It's spelled weird. It's Bucher, something like that.
McGuire.
Shut the up. Go ahead, Chris. You can check it in. You say it however you think.
Satchel Paige Bucher. I'm not sure if that's how it's pronounced, but
I understand what you're saying. So
yeah.
All right. And We Named Tight Ends. What did you guys have?
Pretty similar discussion. Mason threw out Satchel Paige. Is just trying to figure out the time frame because I'm pretty certain Larry Doby was the first American League black player right after Jackie Robinson. So as long as Satchel Paige on Cleveland was after Doby, then it would be fine. And then with Satchel Paige, the only name that made sense is Paige Bucher. So we also checked in with Satchel Paige Buchers.
All right. Well, I will give both teams the points. That is kind of how it's spelled, but the correct answer is Satchel Paige Beckers. But yes, it is spelled with that U in there. But
it looks like Walker Bueller, but it's Bucher. I don't know. It's weird.
Yes. So in 1999, Satchel ranked number 19 on Sporting News list of the 100 greatest baseball players. And Beckers was also named the USBWA National Player of the Year and won the John R. Wooden Award. And as Marcus alluded to, Luca Garza won the same awards in 2021.
How's his career going?
I don't know. Is it going at all?
I'm sure he's playing somewhere.
I think he's on a two-way with the Pistons.
I'm gonna say
Playing
probably
behind a Husky legend, Isaiah Stewart.
Okay. Moving on to question 2. What all-time leading scorer for Duke basketball was also the winning head coach of Super Bowl 34?
We're going to check in.
All right. Half Minority Report is checked in, so we name tight ends. You guys can talk it out.
Pretty sure we have it.
Or the year before, actually, what I was thinking.
Right. Yeah.
So,
they won back-to-back, so it wouldn't matter.
Yeah, I think 34 would have been the 99 season or 2000. Either way.
I think it's Rams Titans. So,
yeah, so that'd be 99 season.
So it's Dick Vermeil. So JJ Red Dick Vermeil, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think it has to be.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right. That's what we're checking in, Josh. JJ Red Dick Vermeil.
All right. And Half Minority Report, what did you guys have?
Well, yeah, Marcus came up with it pretty quickly. We had the same answer. JJ Red Dick Vermeil.
Both teams will be getting points. The correct answer is indeed JJ Red Dick Vermeil. JJ became the first NBA player to take on a podcast during the regular season, starting in 2016. And Vermeil holds the distinction of being named Coach of the Year on the high school, junior college, collegiate, and professional levels. That's pretty impressive.
Yes, it is. And he probably cried at all four of those places. Love that guy.
I think
nothing wrong with showing your emotions, but that
dude
cries a lot, and I appreciate it.
All right, let's move on to question 3 in pre and post game. What teenager who beat Chris Evert and Martina Navratilova to win her only 2 Grand Slam women's singles titles is also a journeyman guard who recently signed a 1-year contract with the Minnesota Timberwolves?
What's he up to?
If he's a guard, probably 6'5", 6'6".
I don't know where he is.
No, I think he's less than that, this guy.
Don't do that. Jesus, that was actually really funny. Wow. Josh.
Sorry, Marcus. I didn't mean to throw you off there.
I'm sorry. That caught me.
Wait. What if it's this, dude? What if it's...
I think she won more than 2. But that's a great answer.
Let me write that one down for a future pre-post.
That is a great... I guess it does work. Yeah.
Well, I mean, it works. I just don't know.
I'll say it very weirdly, but it would work.
I think this is definitely one I don't need to worry about Scott telling me that I stole.
Did I already have it? Doesn't seem like it.
Seem to be.
No.
That is a great pre and post game, though. I will say that's.
All right, guys, teams. Yeah. Let's. If you're not there,
we're definitely not there.
It certainly doesn't help if you don't have. Well, if you're not sure on either end, that makes it real.
Well, it's if you're just trying to back the front it, and like you said, there's so many journeyman cards. It's like
which one would pick the Timberwolves?
Yeah, if you're not, if you don't remember about a week ago who signed with them,
pick one, Chris. You got this.
You want to go with that, just because we have nothing else?
Yeah, I think so. I guess we'll just check in.
It's definitely not right, but.
All right, we named tight ends is checked in. So, Half Minority Report, what do you guys have for an answer?
Not a good one.
No. I know that Eric Pascal just signed with
That's
the
who
Wolves.
It was?
Yeah. And then I was like, then Josh's comment about, I don't know, like 6'4" to 6'6" or whatever, got me thinking about Kyle Anderson. I think he signed with them, but Chris, you were pretty heavy on Jennifer Capriati, right?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that Capriati was really good as a teenager. it would have been about the time that Navratilova and Chris Evert were playing, and I know Capriati really fell off after that. I think she got she just basically didn't do anything after I think she was on Sports Illustrated early on, and then just sort of fell off. But
and then we just started naming every TJ that we could think of. So just pick one and let's find out the real answer.
Yeah. Well, should we just go with the first one, TJ McConnell? I mean, at least we know he's a basketball player, unlike T. Martin or TJ Hushmanzada
or one that's active like TJ Ford.
It's like TJ Ford, obviously.
Yeah. So go ahead.
Jennifer Capriat, TJ McConnell.
Okay, and we named tight ends. What did you guys have for a creative answer?
I mean, I feel like that's it.
That might be
TJ
it.
McConnell. I mean, that fits.
We had Capriati though. That's the thing.
We did, but
TJ too.
Yeah, we were like, he makes it said Jennifer Capriati, or no, I said Jennifer Capriati, and then I said TJ something, but we could not think of an active TJ in the NBA, so we went off of that one, and we just could not figure anything else out because it was a journeyman guard. Obviously, Ish Smith came to mind because he's played for every team and switches every.
That
season.
was my first thought when he was reading the question.
So with that, we were like, let's just put something that maybe works. And we picked a tennis player that played, came up really in the era of when those two were starting to go on the way out. So we said Martina Hingis Smith.
That's so good. I want you to get points.
That's
so funny.
It's not right, but
that's really good.
Neither team will be getting points. Unfortunately, you guys were, I think, with both of those, you're at least 15 to 20 years too far into the future. This person won their Grand Slams in 79 and 81. And so the answer is Tracy Austin Rivers.
You know, I was thinking Austin Rivers because I was like, he would go there, but I don't know any tennis player with Austin.
Yeah, Tracy Austin. She won. So Tracy remains the youngest U.S. Open female singles champion, age 16, which would have been 1979, and the youngest inductee into the International Tennis Hall of Fame at the age of 29.
She got inducted for 2 wins.
Well, I mean, she had other wins.
Okay.
Just no majors.
Just no majors.
Those are only 2 women's singles Grand Slams.
Okay.
She won a mixed doubles Grand Slam in 1980, and she was the world number 1 in that stretch.
She's Hall of Fame worthy, is what.
So, yeah. And in 2015, Rivers became the first player in NBA history to play for his father, Doc, then head coach of the Clippers. I think it's safe to say that Austin Rivers is a journeyman guard.
Absolutely.
Correct?
Yeah, absolutely. I was fairly certain.
How could I talk about this guy? And I'm like,
right.
Yeah, he's been on like 5 or 6.
Oh, yeah. Well, I kept thinking about those guys that switch all the time. And that's why I said to Mason, what's up with Rajon Rondo right now? Like, what's up with him? I know Rubio just re-signed with Cleveland, so I knew he was out.
Okay, guess what? There's only one left in pre- and post-game. Actually, the first 2 went pretty well. We'll see how the 4th one goes. Question 4 in pre- and post-game. What NFL Rookie of the Year and 3-time NFL MVP has the nickname of the International Boxing Hall of Famer who was instrumental in integrating the game of golf, breaking the sport's color barrier in America by appearing under a sponsor's exemption in a PGA event in 1952?
You just talked about 6 different sports in one question.
3.
Oh, all right. Only 3.
So just to clear it up, there's the first one is a person. The second thing is a nickname. That's where they squish together is name, nickname.
All right, we're going to check in.
All right. We named tight ends checked in. Half Minority Report. You guys can talk it out. We got a little bit of time here if you need.
So Chris, the boxer just appeared at this golf thing. It's not a golfer. It's a boxer's nickname is the second half of it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Right.
So the boxer is the one who then played in a PGA Tour thing to break the color barrier.
And they were like, "Oh, black people do like golf."
Spoiler alert, they don't. All right, hold on. Rookie of the year, three-time NFL MVP is that list is smaller.
Mm-hmm. I don't know if I can name many boxers from 1952.
Right, it was somebody who got famous as a boxer in that era. I'm just thinking of boxing. I'm thinking of like Smoking Joe Frazier. God, this is tough. NFL Rookie of the Year and three-time MVP with a nickname feels like it should be something that
you're.
Oh, sorry. Yeah. Nope. Sorry.
No nickname.
You're right.
I mean, they could have had a nickname.
Two-time MVP.
I mean, they might have a nickname, but it's not part of this answer.
I mean, yeah, there's no time frame for the NFL player either. It could be
right. So I'm trying to think of, like, would this be around like when Joe Louis was? I don't know, or
maybe.
or Rocky Marciano. Like that seems to be the. Oh, okay. Joe Louis. Joe Louis is the Brown Bomber. I think this is Jim Brown.
Oh.
You want to go with that?
Yeah, sure.
Let's go with Jim Brown Bomber. That's what we'll check in with.
All right. And we named tight ends. What did you guys have for an answer?
Yeah, so I started at the back end. I was just thinking of prominent African-American boxers in the 50s. The first one that came to mind was Joe Louis. I was almost certain his nickname was Brown Bomber, and then kind of everything fell into place. I wouldn't be surprised that Jim Brown would be a three-time NFL MVP, because I know he at least won a couple. So we checked in with Jim Brown Bomber as well.
Both teams will be getting points. The correct answer is Jim Brown Bomber.
Get that backup truck going. Great pull, though.
Marcus, that looked like you used a lot of your energy to get to that one there. But
I'm struggling. The sun took it out of me. I'm running on fumes, baby.
Hey,
but we're there. Yeah.
So Jim was in his first movie while still a member of the Cleveland Browns in 1964, and he has 58 acting credits to his name. Joe Louis was granted posthumous honorary membership by the PGA.
Are we getting 3 Jim Brown halftime questions?
Mars Attacks. Fine, checked in.
Who would do something like that, Scott? Who would do something like that? I would. And yes, that is exactly what you're about to get. So, but before we get to that, let's do a score recap of after the second quarter. We have the scores of Half Minority Report is up to 100. And we named tight ends is at 160. And that brings us to halftime.
It is now time for the halftime show. There will be 3 entertainment questions pertaining to sports, with each question worth 25 points.
And Scott sniffed it out. This will be an all Jim Brown movie halftime.
Mason, we're likely getting a goose egg on this.
I mean, at least it's Jim Brown, so it's old stuff.
Maybe I didn't even know he acted until like 15 seconds ago when Josh said he had 58 credits.
Okay, so not some of these you hopefully maybe will have some. We'll see. We'll see. Question 1 in this Jim Brown halftime. Jim Brown had a cameo in the movie Draft Day, along with what fellow Hall of Famer who was inducted in 2018?
I hate this movie. Needs to be done. You'd be done asking about this.
I've never actually seen this movie, but when I was looking through Jim Brown's acting credits, his cameo here is one of them.
It's bad. I'm relying on Mason for a halftime question.
Well, I've seen this movie a couple of times, so just give me a moment.
I mean, I gave you a secondary way to hopefully try and get there.
Yeah.
Oh, I got it.
Oh, this is Mason's version of Marcus's.
He's in it.
Orgasm sounds when he.
That would be the right time frame, right?
Yes, that would be the right time frame.
I think he might have been part of the group that I mentioned. I think he was.
Okay, do it.
I think he was there as a. I think he was there as that. I want to say maybe.
Okay.
But I might be wrong. I remember him in the movie. I just don't know what he did. But that would make sense for
the time frame fits for Hall of Fame. Yep.
Okay, we'll check in.
Okay, we named tight ends as checked in. Half Minority Report. You're gonna need an answer pretty quick from you guys.
Scott, what was that last thing you said to Mason?
That Marcus makes orgasm noises when he finally gets the right answer?
No. You said something as I was typing it to Chris. We said the exact same thing. The time frame fits for the Hall of Fame.
Fits for the Hall of Fame.
So we've been banging our heads against the wall thinking of Browns, and none of them really fit as far as when they were inducted or if they were inducted. Peyton Hillis came up. Not a big deal. Chris dropping some knowledge. And then I said, could it be someone associated with the other Browns? The real Browns, if you would. And I just said, maybe it's a Raven. I don't know why that would be a thing. And Chris said Ray Lewis. That fits time-wise. I think they won in 2012, and then he retired. So I think it's 5 years that they have to wait. So that would be around the time. He's definitely first ballot.
Yeah, I mean, and I know there's some things wrong with that movie, but
like the Seahawks being complete dipshits. Oh wait, no, they draft terribly all the time. That's fine. That was accurate.
Like whatever their draft, the slot scale that they were using for like however what did he take one draft? He took the number one pick and turned it into the number one and the number 4 or something.
Yeah.
Really
it's like people in Hollywood were like, I know how this works.
The first and second round picks.
Could I call somebody in the NFL and figure out how the trade part of this movie works? No, just get the license and we'll go from there. Do you want to go with Ray Lewis? The time frame fits.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that fits.
All right. We'll go with Chris's answer of Ray Lewis.
Okay, and we named tight ends. What did you guys have?
Okay, so the first guy that I thought of, and I don't know why, because I was going off the Browns. Pretty sure Bernie Kosar was in the movie, but he wasn't inducted in the Hall of Fame.
I thought about him too.
Arian Foster was in it. I'm pretty sure he was a running back prospect. I remember there's a bunch of commentators as far as the real life people, and I think this person might have been a commentator with them, but I remember him in the movie vaguely. So we checked in with Ray Lewis.
Okay, well, let's talk about the 2018 inductees who were not in the movie. It was not Bobby Beathard. It was not Robert Brazil. It was not Brian Dawkins. It was not Jerry Kramer. It was not Randy Moss, Terrell Owens, or Brian Urlacher. It was, in fact, Ray Lewis.
Chris,
that will be getting their points.
There you go.
Wow.
All right, let's move on to question 2. Jim Brown portrayed the Sharks defensive coordinator in Any Given Sunday. What was his name? Revenge not included.
Look at what I said. You got it. Yeah. We're going to check in.
All right. Half Minority Report has checked in right away. We named tight ends. You guys can talk it out.
Revenge not included.
What is that a reference to?
I don't know. We've got to go off of that, though. Unless you have something else, because I don't.
I knew he was in Any Given Sunday. I didn't know his name.
Yeah, I probably haven't seen that movie, and it's probably been 20 years since I've seen that movie. So,
Revenge.
FYI, this is the second question in a row of a movie I have never seen.
Revenge not included. There's so many.
I'm guessing Marcus gets the reference at the moment. Maybe.
Well, maybe. I wasn't listening.
Oh,
Chris and I are
having a
Mason,
great
so I'm
time
wondering
over
if it's a reference to a movie or something else. It's something Revenge.
Revenge of the Sith.
That's what I was thinking, right? Is his last name Sith?
Revenge of the Nerds.
Is it Coach Sith?
Nerds.
Revenge of the Nerds, aka sexual assault.
Oof.
This is obviously Coach Nerds.
That did not age well.
Not at all.
There's
Oh
a
my
whole lot
God.
of that doesn't age well.
It's so bad.
Pretty much front to end, that whole movie.
Mason, can you think of anything else that's
Revenge.
something revenge in pop culture? I don't know why I'm asking you, but
I mean, if it's a movie, I'm not going to get it. If it's maybe music, but I can't think of anything that goes that way.
I mean, there's Roman's Revenge, but I don't think Josh would pick a Nicki Minaj Eminem track.
Maybe. You never know. His name could be Roman. Roman could be a very logical name for a defensive coordinator.
Hey,
Yeah.
I might be hip. You never know.
Well, it's not about being hip. It's a deep cut even for those artists. So it's like,
Like if
Is it hip to be square?
oof, wow.
Hey,
I can't
Huey
believe that
Lewis,
came
calm
from
down.
you.
I watched American Psycho the other night. Sorry, it's on the top of the mind. Spoiler alert.
Revenge.
Revenge.
Nope. I don't
Nope.
have it. So should we
guess
start
the
naming
last
tight
name?
ends? Yeah.
Yeah, tight end last name.
Oh, no.
Let's go.
You're
Shenko.
right.
We're gonna go Shenko.
All right.
Yes.
Coach Shenko.
All right.
Do we have to give a first name? I hope
Nope.
not.
No, that's all right. For this one, you don't. This one, you could give a first or last, whatever. It's
Oh, all right. You
Ooh.
can give a first. So, Coach.
Coach is not his name. I'll let you have Coach and
Shenko,
Shenko.
since they're
Sure,
both wrong.
Coach
Yeah, we'll
Shenko.
have both of them.
all right. You can have both of them. All right, and half minority part. What'd you guys have for an answer?
This is my favorite football movie. I love it very much. It also happens to be the name of my favorite Knott's Berry Farm ride. Montezuma Monroe is his name in the movie, but the ride that I love so very much at Knott's Berry Farm is Montezuma's Revenge, and that's what we've checked in with.
Okay, we'll get into that in just a second.
theme
That's
park
very
ride?
disturbing.
This is a theme park ride reference.
Hold on. The correct answer is Montezuma Monty Monroe. So one team will be getting points. And before we get to that part, podcast favorite Y.A. Tittle had a cameo in the movie.
Did he really?
He was still
He
alive.
did.
He was still.
So I didn't know about the Knott's Berry Farm ride, but Montezuma's Revenge
Isn't that the
is
term
a
for like?
reference to if you're in Mexico.
Yeah, and you eat too
you
much
drink
and
the
drink
water,
too much. Yeah,
You drink the water and you get Montezuma's Revenge, which gives you apparently
Diarrhea, right?
terrible diarrhea.
yeah. That's where I heard that term.
I didn't get that.
So that is what Montezuma's Revenge is that I know of. I didn't know it was also apparently a
Are you ready?
Ride?
All right, listen. Montezuma's Revenge, spelled with two O's, ZOOM, Zoom, is a shuttle roller coaster located at Knott's Berry Farm in Buena Park, California, opened in 1978.
I have Six Flags season passes. I don't go to Knott's Berry
Interesting.
Farm.
I've never heard
but
of
yeah.
either of these, so wouldn't have gotten it
Well,
no matter what.
that you know what, Mason, it doesn't surprise me that you, as our more wholesome member of the bench, wouldn't know that Montezuma's Revenge is a diarrhea thing. But
I've heard of it, but
I've never
when
heard of
I think Revenge, Montezuma is probably the 7th or 8th.
well, you
Thing
didn't,
that I
quite,
think of,
yeah.
you didn't quite get down.
Ooh.
It's not-
No.
Here's some more Montezuma's Revenge trivia for
Nice.
Knott's Berry Farm. On June 20th, 2019, Montezuma's Revenge was designated as a roller coaster landmark by the American Coaster Enthusiasts, officially recognizing the ride as the last coaster of its kind in the United States and the longest standing in its original location. The ride will be closed for a major refurbishment throughout 2022 and set to reopen in 2023.
So my question is, after you ride it, do you get diarrhea?
I'd
The
hope-
diarrhea of excitement.
Episode title:
Apparently, I think we've said that word too many times for this podcast. At the
Diarrhea
moment,
of
so
excitement.
let's move on to question 3 in the Jim Brown halftime. Whew. Jim Brown portrayed the stalker Fireball in the movie The Running Man. What WWE Hall of Famer was the stalker Captain Freedom?
Oh, so there's more than one stalker. Because I was like, you just said Jim Brown was a stalker. How could it be a WWE Hall of Famer? But guessing there's just more than one stalker.
The running men, the ones who were trying to get away and win,
were all
being
stalkers.
Stalked by
multiple people.
Yes, multiple. Name. Their name similar to why can't I think of the 80s TV show?
Well,
that's a lot,
competition.
Josh.
The competition show. Oh my God.
Like American Gladiator?
Yeah, American Gladiators. They were named kind of like American Gladiators.
Gotcha.
There we go.
All right, so we're checked in.
All right. Half Minority Report is checked in. We name tight ends. You guys can now talk it out.
I told Scott I can name random people from this movie. It's clearly not.
Okay.
It's not Arnold Schwarzenegger.
So
it's not Richard Dawson.
It's Family Feud,
Nick
Richard
Fleetwood.
Dawson?
Yeah, it's not
I
Mick
had previously
Fleetwood,
asked
Fleetwood Mac.
question.
He's in it.
Nick Fleetwood? What the
Fleetwood Mac. He's in the movie. I know that random fact.
Is this before or after the Stevie Nicks affair?
Probably after. It's late 80s, so after. And before, maybe. But I know those three people are in it. That doesn't help me.
Okay.
Richard Dawson's like the game show host of this dystopian future.
Is he kissing all the men?
I made a graphic about this. I don't know if you remember this. I forgot what episode it was, but I made a graphic with him.
I remember
It was one that I hosted because that was one of the questions I asked about was what game show host was the.
So Richard Dawson's the guy in charge, is hosting it. Arnold Schwarzenegger's the one who's the main guy.
Okay, so the thing is, WWE Hall of Famer doesn't necessarily mean it has to be a wrestler because they have a celebrity wing. So this could very well be someone that's in their celebrity wing, like they have actors and other people in their Hall of Fame.
But then why mention he's a WWE Hall of Famer if he's
to try to help me?
That wouldn't help though, right? Because
I mean, that's the thing. It's like Arnold Schwarzenegger's like a WWE Hall of Famer, like in the celebrity wing. But if he's not one of the
I feel like
talkers,
that's leading us to naming someone who's known as a WWE personality.
Yeah.
Rather
well,
than
Hulk Hogan seems too obvious. And I feel like you would know if you would remember if Hulk Hogan was in that movie.
Captain Freedom, does that have anything? Is there someone who has a similar name in WWE that maybe
Captain Lou Albano? But I don't think it was him.
Probably not.
I was thinking like Roddy Piper, but because he would play a good stalker and he has some credits to his name. And if you're saying it's late 80s, I mean, that's definitely his
it's like
prominence era.
I'm pretty sure it's like 87, 88. This movie came out.
Yeah, I feel like he didn't start acting until a little bit after that, like when he did like They Live and some of his other movies.
I'm trying to pull anything because I haven't seen the movie. I've read about it, but I don't know.
If it's legitimately like a Hall of Famer from around that time, the big names are Randy Savage, Andre the Giant, Ultimate Warrior. Like I have trouble picturing any of them doing that. Yeah, I don't know, Mason.
I'm just guess someone because at least I can give you the time frame and the ideas, but
I think it's safe to say the stalkers are villains. Yeah.
Yes.
So I don't think
they're trying to run away from them to win a prize.
I don't think it's Hulk Hogan because I just don't think he would play a bad guy in a movie. It would mess up his image in wrestling. Like he was just an all-American good guy. So I don't think he would play a villain in a movie.
Okay.
At that time after Rocky, like I just don't know that he would do that again. So let's just go with Roddy Piper. He was a heel in wrestling. He's a really good bad guy. So maybe he wanted to capitalize on that.
Okay.
So we'll check in with Roddy Piper.
Okay. And Half Minority Report, what do you guys have for an answer?
So I kept trying to picture this. And first off, wrestling is not something that I really follow. I watched a little bit back in the day, during this time period. And I could picture him. And then I remembered a wrestler who was in Predator that I think was also in this, and that's Jesse the Body Ventura.
Is that what you're going with for your answer?
Yeah. We're going to say Jesse the Body Ventura.
Well, one team will be getting points because in the same year, this wrestler starred in 2 movies with Arnold Schwarzenegger, Chris Shen, you hit it. It was Predator and the Running Man. The correct answer is
the body.
Jesse the Governor.
Jesse the Governor, Ventura.
I ain't got time to bleed.
And just to let you know, there was another stalker in the movie who is also a WWE Hall of Famer, and that would be Professor Tanaka, who was Sub-Zero.
Oh. Okay, interesting movie.
So, for a cheesy 80s
Arnold Schwarzenegger movie.
Give it a watch. It's actually not terrible. I mean, if you just want something that's just action-packed and, has some faces you know.
Mason, I would not have thought of all the questions. This would be the Know Your Host with Jesse Ventura.
And that isn't even why it ended up in here. I was just going through. I was trying to not get too far back, because he started acting in the 60s. I was trying to not go, and I was trying to pick movies that were sports related that had.
You could also, but that you could also get to without having to know.
Correct.
Yeah, I gotcha. Yeah, it's like.
Mason, you had it right. I didn't even know WWE had a celebrity wing. I was trying to get you to a wrestler. That's what I was thinking. Was to go to a wrestler.
Otherwise, you had mentioned what actor, what musician, or whatever. That's why I knew that had to be important in some way.
No, I mean technically, Ventura has done a lot of things, right? He might even be more known to most people as an actor rather than a wrestler.
I'd say as a governor,
politician. Yeah.
Okay, after halftime. Things have gotten really close. Half Minority Report is up to 175, and We Name Tight Ends is at 185. And now on to the second half.
We'd like to take a minute to invite you to follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at BenchwarmersTP. We also have a Facebook group for fans of the pod called The Bench. Join us there to comment on the latest episodes and share cool sports facts and trivia. If you'd be willing to rate and review us on iTunes or Stitcher, we'd greatly appreciate the support so that other people may find this podcast. Thanks.
Today's third quarter will be Lucky 7.
Oh, damn it. We should have got one more wrong.
Lucky 7. For this quarter, there will be 3 lists containing 7 items. The team that is trailing coming into the quarter will choose the first list and attempt to identify the items on this list one at a time. If the team has an incorrect guess, the other team can attempt to finish that list out. The team leading at the beginning of the quarter will select the second list, and whichever team is trailing after the first 2 lists will get the third list. Each item is worth 10 points.
Okay, so the 3 possible lists that Half Minority Report you will get to choose from first are list number 1, which is most NFL receiving touchdowns during the 2010s. List number 2, the most Major League Baseball regular season team wins during the 1980s. And list number 3 is the most NBA 3-point field goals made during the 1990s.
I think we're ready to pick our first.
All right, what list are you going to go with for your first go here?
Maybe unsurprisingly, we're going to go with receiving touchdowns in the 2010s.
All right, I'm not very surprised.
I asked Mason, which one do you want out of the second and third list, because the first one's gone.
Yeah.
All right. Do you guys need a little more time to come up with your list?
Yeah, for sure.
Yep.
Just a little bit, but
I'll start working on this list for any misses.
Okay, so we're going to check in.
Half Minority Report is going to attempt to name as many of the top 7 most NFL receiving touchdowns during the 2010s. Who's your first player?
Why don't you take the first one? The first one we said, Chris.
Yeah, and I give Marcus credit for the majority of this list. Half the guys I was naming, it was like, yeah, that was like the 2000s. So, but the first guy is Gronk.
Rob Gronkowski is number 1. He caught 79 touchdowns in 115 games.
Our next one, he just left the NO. We'll say Antonio Brown.
Antonio Brown is number 2. He caught 75 touchdowns in 131 games.
Megatron.
Calvin Johnson is number 8.
Ooh.
He had 62 touchdowns in 90 games.
Hey.
So unfortunately, you guys now are done with your list. And
Can we get a mulligan?
And we named tight ends, so that's a different quarter style. I'm sorry. We named tight ends. You guys now need to apparently maybe scramble because I don't know if you were thinking a lot about this list.
Not expecting him to go out this early, for sure.
Yeah.
Wow.
So there are still 5, 3 through 7.
Yeah. Who do you feel strongest about of our list?
I'd go Des Bryant.
I'm probably torn between Dez and Fitzgerald. I think Fitzgerald on obviously longevity.
It's just because I feel like
I can't remember the last
peaks,
year where he had 13, 14 touchdowns.
That's why I would probably hold off on
receptions
him.
and yards. All right,
I'd probably hold off.
Let's do Dez.
I'd go Des first. Yeah.
Okay, Des Bryant is number 4 on the list. 73 touchdowns in 113 games.
Do you want to go Graham or Fitzgerald next? How do you? Because Graham. What? Graham's shelf life was what? 5 years.
But he was.
But even if it's.
He was up there, and even he caught some more when he was in Seattle. He still caught some, not as much, and then.
Yeah. Let's
Chicago
do
a little bit. So.
All right. Yeah, Josh, we're going to say Jimmy Graham.
Jimmy Graham, number 3 on the list with 74 touchdowns in 153 games.
All right, so 74 touchdowns.
And Megatron was 67, so we're looking at 70-ish.
I feel pretty good about Fitzgerald.
62, okay.
62.
I feel pretty good about Fitzgerald then, because that's only 6 a year to get, in 10 years, you catch 6 touchdowns, you're at 60. So, and Fitz had some years where he had 12, 13. So even if he had a year where he had 8, it would balance out.
Okay. Yeah. I could see it. I'm fine with that, of the names we have left.
All right, we're going to say Larry Fitzgerald.
Larry Fitzgerald is number 9 on the list. Oh. He caught 61 touchdowns in 158 games.
So 6 a year for 10 years is what you're saying.
Yep.
Pretty much.
So you guys, we named tight ends. You guys did mention 2 others on the list. Number 5 is Jordy Nelson, who had 68 touchdowns in 122 games. Nobody mentioned number 6, which was AJ Green, who had
we did in our chat, damn it,
111 games. And Mason mentioned Demaryius Thomas, who had 63 touchdowns as well in 143 games.
Rest in peace.
Yeah.
Rest in peace. Yes. So each team got 20 points on that first list. So we named tight ends. Do you know which list you guys are going to go for?
We'll do baseball.
Okay, so we named tight ends is going to go for the most Major League Baseball regular season team wins during the 1980s.
We're ready to check in.
Let me know what you got first.
We're going to start off with the Royals.
Kansas City Royals are number 3 on the list. They won 826 games. They made 4 playoffs, 2 World Series, and won 1 of those.
Next, we'll go with the Tigers.
The Detroit Tigers are number 2 on the list with 839 wins. They made the playoffs twice, went to and won 1 World Series.
Okay. Next, we'll go with the Los Angeles Dodgers.
The Los Angeles Dodgers are number 4 on the list. They went to the playoffs 4 times, went to 2 World Series, and won them both.
Okay. Next, we will go with the Red Sox.
The Boston Red Sox are number 6 on the list. They won 821 games. They went to the playoffs twice and went to the World Series once and did not win.
All right. Here we go. Let's hope we can keep going here. We're going to go with the Yankees.
The New York Yankees are number 1 on the list. They won 854 games. They went to the playoffs twice and the World Series once and did not win.
I don't know. I didn't think there were one. I
didn't think there were one either.
On there, but okay. I guess early on would have pulled it a little bit more, but all right. So then we're going to go with the Cardinals.
The St. Louis Cardinals are number 5 on the list. They won 825 games. They went to the playoffs 3 times. They went to 3 World Series, but they only won 1.
All right. I didn't think we'd make it this far, but
I didn't either.
let's see if we got the last one. We're going to go with the Phillies.
The Philadelphia Phillies are number 14 on the list with 783 wins.
Well,
I'm glad we got 6.
Yeah.
So there is 1 team left.
All right. Not a lot of overlap with your list.
No. And, I didn't think the Yankees were going to be there because
I didn't think they'd be 1. They were trash the second half of the 80s.
Yeah. Mid-80s was when I was sort of when I really started watching. And yes, I did watch the 1986 World Series. And no, I didn't blame Bill Buckner.
That's all right. You've gotten to be made up for that now.
Yeah,
you're more than good. So
yes.
I trust you. 80s baseball is a really dark spot for me. I'm not very good in that area.
So I guess the 2 teams that I'm looking at that was on my list that I don't think were mentioned was the Orioles and the Mets. Right? Neither one of those teams were mentioned. So
I trust you. You're gonna have to go with whatever you think is best because I'm not gonna have much for you.
I'm leaning towards the Orioles. Obviously the Mets did win a World Series. And they had, Gooden and Strawberry, but I think
wasn't that in the mid to late 80s?
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Is they were young in that 86 World Series, so
right?
I don't know how good they were before then.
I was only alive for 2 years of the 80s.
So I don't know. I'm leaning towards the Orioles. I don't know. I guess I'll go with my gut. We'll check in with the Orioles.
The Baltimore Orioles are number 13 on the list with 800 wins.
Yeah, I feel like they disappeared to mid 80s. They stopped. They just
they won a World Series, I think, in the 80s and then dropped off.
So, Chris, if it makes you feel better, the New York Mets also fell outside of the top 7. They were number 9 with 816 wins. The team in 7th who had 819 wins, they went to the playoffs 3 times. They did not make a World Series at all, was the Houston Astros.
Oh, yeah, they had those pitching staffs. They had a good pitching staff. I definitely would not have picked them, though.
No.
All right, well, after the first 2 lists, Half Minority Report, you guys are still trailing, so you will be the first team to attempt to name the top 7, the 7 most NBA three-pointer field goals made during the 1990s.
We're going to check in.
All right. Half Minority Report is checked in. So let me know the first player you would like to offer up.
Reggie Miller.
Gotta be the first name.
Reggie Miller is number 1 with a bullet. He made 1,543 three-pointers in 776 games.
Dale Ellis?
Dale Ellis is number 3 on the list. He made 1,210 three-pointers in 717 games. And I'm glad that Marcus did not miss a Dale Ellis question this time around.
Because I have before. Yeah. Trust me, I did. I wasn't going to miss that one.
All right. Good.
The next name we'll go with is Glenn Rice.
Glenn Rice is number 2 on the list. He made 1,269 three-pointers in 745 games.
Next, we'll go with Dennis Scott.
Dennis Scott is number 4 on the list. He made 1,143 three-pointers in only 563 games.
All he did.
Yeah, agreed. That was my main reason for putting him on there.
I don't think I've ever seen him take a shot.
No, he's just camped out in the corner.
Like if they gave him an open layup, he ran back to the 3-point line,
like Reggie Miller in that.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Okay. Our next one, Tim Hardaway.
Tim Hardaway is number 6 on the list. Ooh. With 1,125 3-pointers made in 660 games.
Chris and I were thinking about Tim Hardaway and who he played with. He played with a couple of prolific 3-point shooters in Chris Mullin and Mitch Richmond. Which one do you want to go with?
Mullins.
Okay, we'll check in with Chris Mullin.
Chris Mullin did not make the top 15.
Ooh, yikes!
That's surprising.
I'm very surprised by that.
All right.
So there are 5 and 7 still out there for we name tight ends to try and come up with.
All right, Josh, we're going to say Mitch Richmond.
Mitch Richmond is number 5 on the list. He made 1,137 3-pointers in 722 games.
All right. Good.
All right.
So, I guess, yeah, we said
unless you want to change it, but
it's fine.
It's fine. Yeah,
we'll go with Jeff Hornacek.
Jeff Hornacek, just like Chris Mullin, did not make the top 15.
Okay, Josh, I have to say a name that I had down on my list that I wasn't confident enough for the coin flip between Mullin and Richmond, but I had a sneaky suspicion he was high. Can I take a guess at that last one?
Absolutely.
Is it Mookie Blaylock?
Ooh, Mookie
better not
Blaylock is number 8.
Oh!
He had a 1,094, so the original namesake of Pearl Jam.
Yes. I asked that question, and people were mad at me.
Why would people be mad at you?
Because they didn't know it.
I knew it.
I wasn't on that podcast.
You were not.
Same.
I would have been on that if I would have had that.
I know.
Yeah, anyway. Number 7 was Vernon Maxwell.
Mad Max, really?
123.
I didn't think he lasted long enough.
86 games.
Never would have gotten there.
After those championship teams, I feel like he was gone.
Chris, was Vernon Maxwell on the top of your mind?
No.
Let me just
I actually can't stand him because he's one of the commentators on the Celtics radio broadcast.
Really?
Yeah.
So, Scott, just to let you know, he played from 88 to 2001, so he did play the entire decade.
I don't remember him at all in the late 90s.
He definitely made his way around. Yeah. In 98, he played for both the Magic and the Hornets. And in 99, he started with the Kings and then went to the Supersonics for the rest of 99 and 2000.
You're damn right he did. And he was terrible.
I bet he made some 3-pointers, even though he was terrible.
Yeah, he did.
Okay, so after the third quarter, we have the following scores. Half Minority Report is at 245, and we name tight ends is at 275, so only 30 points separating the teams going into the fourth quarter.
Support for today's Benchwarmers Trivia Podcast is brought to you by Manscaped, the best in men's below-the-waist grooming. Their products are precision-engineered tools for your family jewels. Manscaped's Performance Package is the ultimate men's hygiene bundle. All of us here at Benchwarmers received the Performance Package as a part of our Manscaped sponsorship, and I can speak with authority that it is filled with all sorts of goodies. I highly recommend you give it a try. Join over 4 million men worldwide who trust Manscaped with this exclusive offer for you. 20% off and free worldwide shipping when you use the code BENCH at manscaped.com. If my math is correct, that's about 8 million balls. So don't forget, use the promo code BENCH, BENCH, at checkout, manscaped.com.
And that brings us to the fourth quarter.
The fourth quarter, known as Put Your Fours Up. This quarter consists of 4 categorized questions that teams will wager up to 100 points each, not to exceed their current point total.
categories for today are as follows. Question 1, 80s in reference to the NBA. Question 2, 90s in reference to Major League Baseball. Question 3, the aughts or double O's in reference to the NFL. And question number 4, 10s in reference to college sports. It is now time for the teams to place their wagers. Now that the wagers are in, on to the questions. Question 1 in the category of 80s. What Hall of Fame power forward wore the number 84 for the Detroit Pistons in 2007? It was the only season during his 15-year career that he played for his hometown team.
We're going to check in.
We Name Tight Ends is checked in. Half Minority Report. You guys can talk it out. Give me your answer and your wager.
One of my favorite moments in college basketball history is the timeout with Chris Webber. So we're checking it with.
Yeah, and I agree. I remember seeing him in that ugly number. And yeah, he was so old and he couldn't move. It was sad. It was sad to see that form. I mean, not for you, but for me it was. So yeah, I agree. I totally agree.
So we checked in with Chris Webber.
For how many points?
60. Yeah.
All right. And We Name Tight Ends. What'd you guys have for an answer and a wager?
Yeah, I had this pretty immediately. I sent in the group chat the other day, moments in NBA history we pretend didn't happen, like Hakeem Olajuwon on the Raptors. And to me, this falls into one of those categories. And I remember this very vividly when it happened. And not only that, the time frame works as well. From 93 to 07 would be 15 seasons. So we also checked in Chris Webber for 50 points.
Both teams will be getting their points. The correct answer is Chris Webber. The only other jersey number that wasn't number 4 that he wore was number 2 during his first season with the Washington Bullets. 84. What a terrible number.
Oh, yucky.
All right. Well, with that, Half Minority Report has gotten 10 points closer because they wagered 10 more points. It is now 305 to 325, only a 20-point difference. Moving on to question 2 in the category of 90s. 2 major leaguers played in more than 1,500 games during the 1990s, one in each league, with one playing for 2 teams and the other for 1 team. Name both of these players.
Are you able to specify whether both teams were in the same league?
That both teams were in the same league, because when I say one was in one in each league,
yeah.
The two, so the one that was in 2 teams was in the same league.
That's what I'm trying to think of, because I know it's been talked about before. That's what.
All right, we're checked in.
Okay, Half Minority Report has checked in. So We Name Tight Ends. You guys can talk it out with names. Let me know your answer and your wager.
All right, so Ripken just comes down to the math. I'll leave that to you.
Yeah, I'm just worried this is a trap answer because, with the streak and just.
I know.
That's what I'm worried about. But I like your answer on the other side of it.
You like Mark Grace?
I'm starting to like it just because he's a hits leader in the 90s.
Hits leader in the 90s, 2 teams. He played, to my recollection, pretty much every day. You want to go Ripken and Grace?
Yeah, the law firm of Ripken and Grace.
We'll go Grace Ripken, who sounds like the main character on like a sitcom, like a mom in her early 40s. Grace Ripken.
It sounds like the nickname, or it sounds like the lead character of a spinoff of Murder, She Wrote.
The Grace Ripken starring Helen Hunt.
The reboot of Murder, She Wrote.
Grace Ripken. Josh, we're going to check in with Mark Grace and Cal Ripken Jr. for 100 points.
Okay, and and Half Minority Report, what did you guys have for an answer?
We came to Ripken pretty quickly. And, while they were talking it out, I was saying to Marcus that I forgot about the strike, so I didn't even calculate that in. But we sort of thought he was a shoo-in. And then, we were bringing up some names. We brought up Barry Bonds. And then we also ended up settling on Mark Grace.
For how many points?
60 points.
Fortunately, both teams will be losing their points. You did fall for the trap answer.
Yep.
The player on one team was not Cal Ripken Jr. It was Craig Biggio.
Well, that's why we couldn't say him,
the Astros were in the National League
for the
NL, entire 90s and 2000s. They didn't come to the AL until 2013. So the correct answers were Craig Biggio, and the answer that seems to be one that everybody forgets on this podcast, Rafael Palmeiro, who played for the
Rangers and
Orioles, and then he went back to the Rangers
in the 90s. Yeah,
played for two teams during the 90s. So Palmeiro played in 1,526 games. Biggio played in 1,515 games. Now, to make you feel a little better, Mark Grace played in 1,491 games. Jay Bell was fourth with 1,475. Yep. And in fifth place, Cal Ripken Jr., who played in 1,475 games. It was September of 1995 when he ended his streak.
I did not remember Rafael Palmeiro.
So just to let you know, 95, he still played in 144 games. Now, the one thing is, in 94, he must have gotten hurt, Ripken, because he only played in 112 games. But technically, if you're on the injured list, that doesn't preclude you.
No, I think that's the strike, though.
Or is that the strike year?
That's the strike.
That's the strike year. My bad. Yeah. That's the strike year. He played every year of the strike year.
Yeah.
So he played most of the 95, right? Because it was September. 96, he played 163. 97, he played 162. 98, 161. But in 99, he only played in 86 games.
There it is. Yeah.
That's the season that made him drop.
About.
You're a fraud, Cal Ripken. Take it out of the record books, you coward.
So, though both teams got their points lost on that, unfortunately, now we have a score change, a leader change. At the moment, Half Minority Report is at 245, and We Name Tight Ends is at 225. So that was a 40-point swing moving into question 3 in the category of the odds. What quarterback, who was criticized for having small hands, led the NFL in fumbles during the decade of the 2000s, having fumbled 101 times in 104 games played? That is a lot of fumbles.
We'll check in.
Okay, We Name Tight Ends is checked in. Half Minority Report, you guys can talk it out. Let me know your answer and your wager.
Well, we've discussed Mr. Fumble, Tony Banks, but he was too early for this. I kind of know your host strategy here, because the more I think about it, I think Daunte Culpepper fumbled a lot.
Mm-hmm.
A lot. And he was so big physically.
Yeah, I mean, but the guy was, like you said in the chat, he was enormous, right? I mean,
I think that's the thing. He was big as hell, but he had little baby hands.
All I can think about is that game. Have you ever seen?
He had
that
little Burger King hands.
The little hands. That game where you like a little hand on a stick,
like the Kristen Wiig character that has she has the big forehead and the little plastic tiny hands.
Yeah, from
I just came up with the graphic for the show. It's Daunte Culpepper with those little plastic hands. I like Daunte Culpepper.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, okay. You feel pretty strongly about this, so I'm fine going with Daunte.
I do with the time frame. Like you said, we named Rich Gannon. He was another guy who was late bloomer.
I mean, Michael Vick, though, was drafted in what, 99?
Yes.
And then he played through
right around there, 99, 2000.
And like you said, he missed a couple years because he was, had to face the music. And then he came back, and I mean, he had the ball a lot, but
I would go with Culpepper.
All right.
Personally.
Yeah, I mean, my gut and my instinct this game has been weak, so we'll go with Culpepper.
All right, we're checking with Daunte Culpepper for 60 points.
Okay, and We Name Tight Ends. What did you guys have for an answer and a wager?
So we tried to think about the small hands for a little bit. That didn't work. The only thing that I had that I know, I'm pretty sure this is fact. I'm pretty sure the most fumbles in a season was Kerry Collins. And we did some math. That's about 6.5 years this person had played. So it made sense because he was on the Giants, the Panthers, Raiders, Titans. I think he probably got to 6.5 seasons worth of starting games. That was the only fact that I had, was that Kerry Collins, I think, had a lot of fumbles. I remember one season, I think he had like maybe 20 something. It was a pretty ridiculously high number. So based off of the math and what we did, we got to Kerry Collins. So we're checking with that for 100.
One team will be getting points. And if you listen to Dan Lundberg on this podcast, I do believe he often references the tiny hands of Daunte Culpepper. Yeah. So Daunte Culpepper had 101 fumbles in 101 fumbles in 104 games played. Second was Kurt Warner with 93 fumbles in 107 games, followed by Brett Favre with 83 fumbles in 160 games, and John Kitna with 82 fumbles in 104 games.
Central Washington's finest, Ellensburg, Washington legend, John Kitna? That makes so much sense.
An elite level of lack of athleticism. Yeah.
And hair.
So just to give you some reference.
Well, so do I.
So Culpepper's hands were 9.5 inches, which for, I think, guys who are maybe around 6 foot, that's not that bad. But for a guy who's like 6'4", that's considered small. For reference, Kenny Pickett had at the combine measured at 8.5 inches. So sorry, Pittsburgh, but he's literally playing with those little doll hands that you can see either on SNL.
Oh, that's why he's wearing gloves.
Or many TikTok skits where they've got the little. Oh my God! When
you said so, you said Culpeppers are 9.5.
Culpeppers are 9.5.
So his hands are the same as Marcus's.
Hands.
My ego.
Hands.
My ego.
But yeah,
out of 10.
Culpepper in 3 seasons fumbled 51 times in 3 seasons. Leading the league in 2002 with 23 fumbles for the Minnesota Vikings.
Yeah, that was the year he was on the cover of Madden. Hell yeah.
Moving on to the last question. The game has gotten a little bit lopsided at the moment. We don't need to cover that right now. We'll cover the scores after the 4th. So question 4 in the category of the tens. 4 teams made the NCAA Division I men's basketball tournament every year during the 2010s. Name 3 of those teams.
All right, Josh, we're checked in.
All right. We named tight ends is checked in. So half Minority Report, you guys can talk it out. Let me know your answer and your wager.
I definitely like Gonzaga. Chris sent over Gonzaga pretty quick. I agree. They've missed in a long time.
Yeah.
So Duke.
I feel like they had an off year, though.
I agree.
I feel like they might have had an off year.
Because we had a question not that long ago about adjacent, not this necessarily, but like, streaks of NCAA tournament appearances, and I believe Duke is one of those schools that has a year where they just had an off year and they missed. I feel like UNC might be in that group too, but I'm not positive.
Yeah, I think they might be also.
What about Kansas? I feel like Kansas is there. I mean, they win the Big 12 pretty much nonstop.
Villanova.
When did Jay Wright get there? I can't even put that.
Yeah, I feel like early in the decade, I mean, they were obviously much stronger later, right? Is that when, because they won their national championship later in the decade. I don't know how they were earlier. And then there's like, I feel like there might be a mid-major in there somewhere. Someone like Butler, or like, well, Butler's not a mid-major anymore, but.
I mean, yeah, not anymore, but at the time they for sure were. Well, what were they? Yeah, I mean,
and this is only the 2010s.
2010s, right?
So, like, they could have missed in 2020 and still be on this list. But
I know they had a couple lean years right after they went to the national championship game.
Yeah.
Because they went to the national championship game. I know they had a lean year or two at least. And I'm trying to think of those Big East schools. Like, I know Louisville had a couple down years. I'm thinking of Notre Dame, Marquette.
I think BC had like 10 down years during that.
Yeah. I was going to say Boston College has had a down decade.
Yeah.
Don't worry, Washington's in the process of one.
Arizona?
In the 2010s, I think there was a year where Sean Miller was there where they didn't make it.
So
that's not a bad guess. That's not a bad guess, though.
Definitely Gonzaga.
Okay.
And then Kansas.
Yeah, I'm good with that.
Yeah, I'm good with Kansas.
And
I feel like that like the other two are going to be sort of schools like that. You're like, oh yeah, that's right. They have a decent basketball team, but like they don't make the Final Four or like.
What about Michigan State?
Oh, maybe.
Because Big Ten's usually like a pretty, or Purdue maybe. Purdue's another one that seems like they make it a lot. Are any of those tickling your fancy? Josh has given us the wind-up sense, so we got to come up with an answer.
Like, are there any of the other mid-majors that are as dominant as like Gonzaga that are there every year? I don't think there are, I guess. Like
it's tough. It's tough because there's 27 leagues and it's hard to decipher who's in the Patriot League and who's coming out of the SWAC and the Southland Conference.
Yeah.
What do you think about one of these Big Ten teams? I kind of am leaning there.
Yeah.
What do you think? Right. Purdue, Michigan State.
I think it's a coin flip for those two.
Okay.
Michigan State, because Michigan State's been to more Final Fours, I think. Like, they've gone farther.
Right.
But, like, Purdue is
I feel like they're always
teams,
in it.
Yeah, they're there, and they just, they make it to maybe the third round, and then they're out.
Okay.
If they make it that far.
All right. So, do you want to say, we'll check in with Gonzaga, Kansas, Purdue? Does that sound good to you?
Yep, that sounds good.
All right. We're going to check in Gonzaga, Kansas, Purdue for 60 points.
Okay, and we named tight ends. What do you guys have for answers and a wager?
Yes, first two names we threw out were Gonzaga and Kansas. Figured those had to be on there. Duke and Kentucky are definitely not there. The next name I threw out was Michigan State because I'm pretty sure they have a decently long streak, possibly even back to the 90s at least. So those are the three we went with: Gonzaga, Kansas, Michigan State for 25.
One team will be getting points. The four teams are Kansas, Gonzaga, Michigan State, and Duke. Duke did not miss out until 2021 because no team made it in 2020 because the tournament didn't happen. But so 2021 was the year where Duke's streak ended, but they did have all 10 years. There were 5 teams that went 9 times in the 2010s. That's Kentucky, North Carolina, Villanova, Cincinnati, and Matt Doherty's favorite team, the Wisconsin Badgers. So Duke got tripped up last, not the one that just happened, but the one before. But yeah. All right. Well, with that, the game has come to an end, and here are the final scores. We named tight ends finishes with 150 points. And our clipboard captains of the game, who are receiving the not-so-coveted Bailey Zappi Award.
Oh, my God.
Oh, that is extremely coveted up here.
With 245 points is Half Minority Report.
Hey, Christian, let's go.
Yes. Well, considering Zappi's behind Brian Hoyer.
I mean,
who's older than Brady, I think.
Camp just started, right? Like, he could get to the...
Don't worry, it's New England. In 2 years, the fan base is going to be clamoring for Bailey Zappi and not to pay Mac Jones, because that's how they are.
All right. Well, is there anything you guys would like to say before we call it a night?
Yeah, I just want to thank you guys again for letting me come on. This is my 5th time, I think. So like you said, Josh, at the beginning. So I expect with my hat, I'll get that smoking jacket.
And your benchy.
And my benchy, yeah. But no, I had a lot of fun, even though, I got to thank Marcus because he basically carried us, because every single time we had a coin flip answer that I picked, it was wrong. Somehow we still pulled it out. But I do appreciate it. I love the podcast. Obviously, I listen, and I look forward to it dropping every Tuesday, and Friday. So thank you.
Yeah, Chris, this is a lot of fun. It's one of these things when we do this podcast is, we deliberate as much as we can to make good podcast content for you guys. But I wish we could transcribe Chris and my chat, because there are a lot of things that we were just laughing about in the middle of deliberation. I could see Josh laughing because we were laughing, and obviously that's not going to make it. But Chris, this is a lot of fun. Josh, this was a fun game. Challenging in ways, and like you said, you threw in some easy ones and some other ones both teams were struggling with, but I mean, it was a great game. So thank you. And thank you, Scott and Mason, because I enjoy both of you very much.
I'll echo that. Josh, this was a lot of fun. Ironically, we did better in the first half, which I didn't enjoy as much as the second half, but we did worse. I thought the Lucky 7 was great. I thought the fourth quarter questions were great, but we did worse. But then it's we had a Jim Brown halftime and some weird haikus, but somehow we got those. I don't know. This was a weird game, but it was a lot of fun nonetheless. I think this is what's funny is that, first of all, Chris, I'm glad that you're on here for the 5th time. I'm glad you won. I know I've been on the losing end with you before. So
I won with you. We beat Eric one time.
Yes, we did. You know what?
He still hates me for that.
Eric.
He hates me because of the game I hosted, but
yes. But I'm always, if I'm going to lose, it's always nice to give people, a win that deserve it just based on how often they're on here and their fandom. It's always good to, if I do have to lose, I'd much rather lose to you than Dan or Eid or David. It's that's just, that doesn't do anything for them. They're already
those dicks.
They don't need the win. So I appreciate that. It's ironically, I feel like Marcus and I actually would have done really well as a team in this game. This is one of the games where it's I think we would have done really well because he would have got Culpepper for me, and I would have helped out with some of the ones that he got wrong. But you just never know how it's going to go. But so I'm glad that you were able to get the victory.
I don't have much to add. If you want me to say so, I will say that I didn't sound completely foolish during an all-movie halftime, which I think is an accomplishment.
Yeah, baby.
That I actually made some sense and actually could contribute in a way. So I think that was a moral victory in of itself, even though we only got one of them right. Moral victories here.
Yep.
Chris, thank you for coming on. Don't take a lawn chair and sit by your mailbox waiting for the benchy or your smoking jacket. Just don't spend your time with that, because I think you'll be sadly let down. Just gonna let you know, because don't.
How about some tiny hands? Can you mail me some tiny hands?
Well, that we might be able to work out, but we have to get them from Daunte Culpepper first. So
yeah, I'll see what he's up to.
But thank you for being an avid listener and a member of our Patreon team. We really appreciate you and all the other Patreon supporters. I know I said this the last time as well, but we appreciate everybody who listens, even those who maybe hate listen to us. We'll take any listeners that we can get. Thanks for listening to the Benchwarmers Trivia Podcast. And until next time, we'll keep the bench warm.
That ball hit high and deep. Stretch! Get on back there. They look up. You can put it on the board. Yes!
Into deep left center for Mitchell. And we'll see you tomorrow night.
That great music you're listening to is by Justin Nozick. Thanks to him for producing that music for us. You've been listening to the Benchwarmers Trivia Podcast. Make sure to check us out on all of our social media. We are at BenchwarmersTP.